It's the Redirect Podcast, search industry research, discussion, and analysis from the BlackTruck Media and Marketing headquarters. And now, redirecting you to the BlackTruck team.
Redirect Podcast from the team at BlackTruck Media and Marketing. This is our first, inaugural podcast, weekly podcast to discuss all things search engine marketing, search engine optimization, where we sit around, drink coffee, and discuss industry news changes within the search space. I'm Jason Dodge, founder of BlackTruck Media and Marketing.
I'm Ashley Bovin, search marketing intern.
I'm Patrick Garrett.
So I don't know if we'll do introductions or not. We'll let's just revisit this and listen. And we probably will never produce this for the public anyways, but we can all listen to this anyways. So I think basic theme that we're going to go around the table and just discuss what everybody's kind of reading, what they're studying every week, and it's our opportunity to reflect back on again, just kind of thought leadership, knowledge sharing. So what did everybody read this week? What's on your radar? What are you freaked out about?
I'll start. I found an article on Search Engine Land about filtering crawls, more advanced, digging in deeper on crawls. And I kind of feel like I live and die by a crawl. Mm-hmm. I really like getting into the grittiness of a crawl and finding all the nuances and then just studying it. And I've been sorting my crawls, not necessarily filtering my crawls. I found another tool mentioned in here called Deep Crawl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've never explored it.
Our friend Andrew from the UK uses Deep Crawl quite extensively.
Yeah, I want to dig into that and see what the benefits are. And this article, written by Glenn Gabe, talks how he uses Deep Crawl extensively and Screaming Frog extensively. And he says the value of the two of them added together adds up to 3. So he says 1 + 1 = 3 as far as the two tools together. He links to a previous article that he wrote about crawls from last year. It's a date on this one. June of last year, so not quite a year old. And it touches on an interesting area of a crawl that we don't focus on, and I never even thought about it. I never put a second thought into it, is I go ahead right away and I filter out the 301 redirects. Mm-hmm. It talks about making sure those 301 redirects are redirecting properly. Realized redirects, I think is what he says. And there's an advanced filter inside a Screaming Frog that always follow redirects. I think I haven't gone in and played with it yet, but we can go through and make sure that it's not redirecting to multiple redirects.
Oh yeah, so it doesn't get into a redirect loop or anything like that?
Or not just that. It's what if the redirect is an old redirect, but the new 200 page is now 404. Mm-hmm. So we might just go ahead and remove those from a filter and clean them up and never think about them again. I'm guilty of that. But where is it going? Where are those 301s going to? And we got to make sure that those aren't causing further issues with it.
It's interesting. I had a discussion this week with one of our clients on that very, very large site. And I think that the larger the site, the deeper that problem becomes, because you have a site with, say, 1,800, 2,000 pages in this case, multiple applications, and there's multiple content administrators. So you have a lot of people pushing and pulling content, changing links and things like that. Whether they have a proper protocol or not, they're not thinking about that either. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where good SEOs can come into play in the technical SEO level. That's really good.
Right.
Awesome. Ashley?
I don't know if it was just the day, but yesterday when I was doing some reading online, I was just finding all sorts of good stuff. I found an infographic from Microsoft and Bing about the future of search. And they talked about the 3 P's of search: personal, pervasive, and predictive. And there was kind of a theme going through some of the reading I was doing along the lines of personalization. consumers expect personalized experiences. And I found another another article that was about creating landing pages, like multiple landing pages. And I just thought that was really interesting, like personalizing for the types of people that are coming to the websites. So I just saw some links between some of the articles I was reading and how there's a big push for personalization.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know if it was MozCon last year, 2 years ago, maybe it was 2015. Kara Harshman at the time was talking pretty in depth on personalization of experiences and things like that. I think that's really good. I think it actually goes along with your persona map blog post that you were working on too recently. So that's really good.
That's interesting. Creating custom landing pages associated maybe with a PPC campaign, I've always kind of had mixed feelings for, because there's opportunity to create duplicate content. You know, if I make a page that's catered to somebody of your lifestyle versus Jason's lifestyle, at the end of the day, the content is really going to draw you to the same thing. You know, and is that going to create some fluff on your site that you don't need?
Unless you're using route canonical tags,
Okay,
and
fair enough.
and or blocking of some sort. You know,
Yeah.
if it's true,
Right, and that
when
creates
it's PPC.
that throws the importance of needing to do that.
Was the context of the article, was it PPC focus or just search in general focus?
Search in general.
Interesting.
How does that work around then? Like, that's interesting. I'd like to read that article.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. Search will deliver more personalized results and allow for more natural and personal ways to interact with computing, like with voice.
Back to voice.
75% of online consumers get frustrated when content appears that has nothing to do with their interests. Yeah, interesting infographic here.
That's good. We'll have to link to that and share that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to click on something that's not to my interest. But how does the person creating that content know what your interest is? The interest is about the subject on the page, and if it's not a right match, that's interesting. Where do you draw the line as the marketer versus the end user?
True. Article I read was from Jennifer Slag at the Sun Post recently here. I went down the PPC route and Google testing out, I guess, a 2-card method style for primarily coming after home services ads. So I'll throw one up on our screen here. So the example they use, this is the Google example, right? The searches for locksmiths serving San Francisco. So these 3 guys right here at the top. What would be more? It almost feels like a carousel, like a carousel listing would be. Especially more familiar with this in shopping ads. So you get these three positions at the top here, but this is in addition to our other 2 kind of text-based, or what we would know as our normal text-based ads. It's primarily for home service type companies. So whether it's locksmiths, roofing companies, concrete, you name it, landscape. This is something that we could probably see live environment rolled out. Also, we have this more locksmiths in San Francisco, so more of in your area. I'm curious about, and Jennifer doesn't talk about it on the Sun Post, she doesn't talk about what this Google Guaranteed is, so I'm not really familiar with this, and how much of these are real versus fictitious just for this type of test, because all of them obviously have 5-star ratings. They're all very similar in nature, so I don't know exactly how accurate this is.
Right. I wonder if the Google Guarantee has anything to do with maybe Google Wallet or the terms of payment accepted.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's that, and I don't know if it's just another pay to play type scenario. You're only going to get it if you're in this.
It's like an abbreviated version of the snack pack.
It's very much carousel style, but not a carousel. Displays 3 results right now. There's also a stacked version of it too, depending on if you're in a mobile environment as well. So it seems that this is yet another change from the Google paid side of things. So
I read that article too, and there's another one on her site from I think the same day, where on the mobile side of these cards they're including a button for messaging.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting too. Your site has to be supportive of having a messaging service, like a chat. I would imagine.
Well, yeah, you figure we've had the ability to run message ads, if you will. I know that's probably not the proper language to use, so we might get chastised for that. But click to message,
right?
And I think that really rolled out and was very prominent with auto dealerships and things like that. The kind of a click to text method. But yeah, you have to have it supported on your site. But think about it. If you're providing emergency lockout service or emergency water damage restoration type companies, I mean, that I could see a lot of advantage, especially because a lot of people don't want to call.
Yeah, you're gonna get a voicemail. You're gonna wait for it to ring. You're gonna leave a voicemail. Are they gonna hear a voicemail? Just know if I'm in a hurry, I might just message out 4 companies real quick, and whoever reaches out back gets the bit.
That's great. What else did you guys read? Anything?
I read that on the SEM post. It was the same thing. The brief article on will you get demoted if you link to a page that 404s.
Oh, I think I read something like that earlier this week
and,
too.
Jennifer Slag reached out to Gary. I don't know how to say his last name. Elise. And she's like, I'm curious about this, and his answer is no. Absolutely not. And it's a screen cap from Twitter, but it's no. So if you have a page that you link out to a page that 404 on another site, you will not get penalized for that because you have no control over that.
Perhaps the site owner on the other end should get their ducks in a row.
Yes.
All right, Ashley, was there anything else that came up in the world of search or world of communications even?
Something from the Marketing Props blog that again kind of relates to the personalization. Are marketers missing opportunities to seize consumer micro moments? So talking about those moments that people will reach for their phone and do a mobile search, basically, and paying attention to what those moments might be and what the language that they'll be using in those moments would be. I don't know what else to say.
Did you totally geek out on that, or was it like I'm curious?
I think it relates back to knowing your customer and speaking their language, and
I think it's part of that other end of search, the future search that we've kind of been talking about here for the last couple of months, which the deep conversations we have that triggered us creating this podcast was like voice search in the unknown history of that, like those micro moments that you're just talking about, like someone says, I'm going to grab my phone right now and look it up. And a lot of times I'm going to voice search that. That's when I do a voice search. Okay, Google, I do that all the time while I'm driving. And those are those micro moments. How do we market to that? Yeah. Where are we going to get to that? That's our job as marketers. How do we grab a hold of that? And that's just, my brain isn't able to comprehend that right now.
That's really good. Another thing that I've been looking at again, that I kind of stuck on the paid search bandwagon this week in my reading and research. The biggest news, I think, the last thing I talked about was very much a test. The biggest thing now is Google rolling out similar audiences for search and shopping ads. So we've had similar audiences for a bit now in the display network and the GDN. Now we have similar audiences that's out of beta. That's been in beta they beta tested that for about a year now. So that's out of beta. And how it works is it works similarly to RLSA ads, if you're not familiar with RLSA, so remarketing lists for search ads. So similarly, I've been to your site, I'm cookied, I didn't take a particular action, I'm going to follow you around and search. Now it puts those people in that audience, but it knows what you search for. So if you search for, like Google's example is, say you came into the site and you were interested in running, But then the similar audience will identify that people on this list tend to also search for, so it's kind of this also searching for triathlon training, buy lightweight running shoes, that type of thing. So there are these other searches that they're performing or most likely to perform based on behavior and intent and things like that. I haven't read too deeply in it to know, over the course of the year, is this driven also from the people also searched for, that you're going to see, all the way at the bottom of Google SERP, or kind of some of the suggested searches or not. But now that this is available now and out of beta, I'm anxious to try that in the live environment and see what it helps.
Any of that stems, like, is Amazon in cahoots with this at all? Because they have a pretty strong also searched for.
Yeah, I don't
feel in theirs.
I don't know the relationship. I'm always curious on that. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist on it.
Right.
I know there are beta testers that were a lot of big, major brands, Fiat Chrysler and stuff like that. They'll usually roll out those big betas. We've been included in some betas before, but it's almost like they're like beta. It's like they've already run the beta test out to these really, really large major brands, like the auto manufacturer at the manufacturer level, not the dealership level, which is what we might be working with, or a boat manufacturer or something like that we might be able to do beta tests with, and those aren't publicly shared. And nobody really knows what the hell's going to come from it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works. But that's a similar approach. There's been a lot of success with Facebook's similar audiences and being able to build that out. There's been a lot of success in that regard of building your audience. So I think it'll be an interesting test. Yeah, totally. Anybody else have anything cool they want to share?
No.
So that kind of wraps it for our first, our first initial redirect podcast, and we'll see how this goes after we listen to it and hate how we hear our voices and how we sound. And but I think the whole goal is share thoughts, tools, insights, develop some content around this, and keep producing it hopefully in a weekly format that is digestible for those either in the industry or not in the industry. So that's it. Stay tuned.
Bye.
This has been the Redirect Podcast. Check out the show notes at blacktruckmedia.com and add us on iTunes and Stitcher.